So here we go.
Cool.
All right, we're on live and recorded.
All right, perfect. Again, co-writer's available on multiple platforms. So again, regardless of what platform, your students should be able to have access to our tools here. Cool functions about co-writer are most of the functions available you don't need the internet for. So whether or not the students are working on a Chromebook, Mac, PC, an iPad, if the network goes down in the school, if you don't have the internet at home, the students should be able to pick up and, utilize the tools wherever they need to be. So I'll jump over to an example of how co-writer is going to work here for you. So if you guys could see this, this image here, this is an actual student writing example. The student was trying to write the sentence here, "I can't wait to go trick-or-treating." So again, actual student writing example. I can turn on my extension for co-writer up here in the top right corner of my screen. And out pops this little prediction box on the left-hand side here. So this student, since they actually had access to using co-writer, the teacher said, this time, why don't you try recreating the same sentence here. This time, type it out the same exact way and just see where co-writer gets you. So I'll show you kind of how the flexible spelling works and then some of the other functions that go along the way. So I can type out the letter I and get a list of options here.
Capital I.
So one of the functions is to have auditory feedback after individual letters, individual words, individual sentences. So again, these are unique to each student. If they don't necessarily need to have the auditory feedback options, they don't have to have them. But again, it is an option available for the students. So I have it turned on and I'll continue using it here along the way. So again, I'm trying to recreate the sentence here. I can't wait to go trick-or-treating. So I type out C and my list of options on the left-hand side has changed now that I've typed out C. Obviously the word can't isn't too tough to predict, but at the same time, if the students need to have that support there, it is available. I can hover over any of these words.
Can't. Could. Couldn't.
So the student gets that auditory feedback that this is the word I want to insert in my writing before they even get it on the page. So now there's also options for numbers 1 through 8 over here. So these numbers allow for faster, offering students a faster option to get the words onto the paper. So if I hit the number 1,
can't,
it will insert that word onto the page. So some students might forget what they're trying to type before they can even get the words onto the page, and this eliminates keystrokes throughout the day and offers the students who might get fatigued another option, and also offers students who might forget another option. So again, I'm trying to type the sentence, I can't wait to go trick-or-treating. So I'll type out W, and my prediction box has changed over there on the left-hand side. Now I can just hit number 1 again.
Wait.
And then I'll hit number 1 for 2.
2.
Go. And then I'll hit number 4 over there on the left-hand side.
Go.
And then trick-or-treating. So this is the fun part. So now I can type out C, H, R, I. We have Christmas, getting closer, right? But now I hit C. And the prediction box on my left-hand side there has predicted trick-or-treating. So this is where co-writer is different, and this is how co-writer is different for students who are struggling to write. We're able to predict phonetically, we're able to predict the way that creative spellers are going to sound out their words. And obviously, just by typing out C-H-R-I-C has predicted the same way here. So just by hovering over it,
trick-or-treating,
I can have the auditory feedback option, and now I can hit number 2.
Trick-or-treating.
And now I can put a period at the end of the sentence and it will read it back to me.
I can't wait to go trick-or-treating.
So again, a lot of different functions available just within the realm of flexible spelling. So co-writer, cool things about co-writer. Co-writer will pick up on words prediction, or the way students are writing and what they're writing about. So my name, Dustin Vanderplug, obviously not a very easy name to spell. Obviously, co-writer will be able to pick up on the spelling of my name, and it will learn that as I begin to use it a little bit more frequently. So cool thing about co-writer here, though, is that whether or not it's me typing here, if you guys load up co-writer for the first time and you type out trick-or-treating the same way, it's going to predict that same way with the flexible spelling that it has created here for me today. So beyond just the flexible spelling options, we can also utilize co-writer for some editing purposes. So let's turn this off and then jump over to a page that may have been created without Co-Writer. So let's say the student had written a handful of sentences, didn't use Co-Writer to help predict any of the words from the page, but now they can go back and utilize Co-Writer to help them edit. So obviously there's some underlined words here for misspelled words. If I click on the word that I think is going to be important, my first option in the prediction box is important. So again, they can hover over it.
Important.
And get that feedback option. So now I can hit number 1.
Important.
And it will insert the correct word into my writing. So beyond that, the word because in this sentence is a misspelled word, but Google didn't recognize it as a misspelled word. But now I can hit number 1.
Because.
And change that word. So I could move through the rest of the sentences the same way, but it's just another function that's available in the event that the student hadn't utilized Co-Writer to begin with. So other cool features we have built in are quick topics. So if I wanted to load a topic dictionary from anything pretty much that a student need to be talking about, we have 4.5 million topic dictionaries available. So this is my options menu and it's unique to me. So each student has their own individual options menu. So here you can change some of the speaking words back. If I could toggle that on or off for some of the auditory feedback options. And you can also change the number of guesses, the size of the font, you name it. This is, again, unique to each individual student. This is I search for topics. This is where we would search for topics in our topic dictionary. So again, there's 4.5 million topic dictionaries available. Cool things about this right now, this Super Bowl is a Super Bowl that's on Sunday. Hasn't even happened yet. But we already have a topic dictionary created for it. So it just kind of shows you how fast we're able to create these topic dictionaries in the event that the student wanted to talk about the Patriots. Not necessarily a fan myself, but if they wanted to talk about the Super Bowl, Tom Brady, maybe the stadium it's being played at, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, where we would be able to predict vocabulary words for the student unique to that individual topic. So personally, I enjoy talking about the TV show Game of Thrones. Whether or not anybody's seen it, I'll be able to give you an idea as to how this might work for your students. So I can type out Game of Thrones, and we get a list of options to choose from. So these options are individual seasons. So seasons 1 through 8. Again, season 8 hasn't happened yet, but we're able to load vocabulary from this specific season already. If you're familiar with the show Game of Thrones, you know that a lot of the characters don't stick around very long. There's various places that might not stick around very long. So again, we're able to utilize vocabulary from any of those individual seasons and offer the students the option to talk about their favorite TV show. So I could turn on the prediction box here for Game of Thrones. And as it's loading, I can pop back over to a new Google Doc here. So again, it doesn't look like anything's changed, but if I wanted to talk about one of my favorite characters, let's say from the TV show Game of Thrones, I could talk about Daenerys Targaryen and say that she is the Dragon Queen. Honest to God, prior to having utilized Co-Writer, I had no idea how to spell this character's name, so I just began to sound it out. So if I type out D-A, I get a list of options here. The second option in the prediction box is already the character's first name. So first name is
Daenerys.
And now Targaryen is her last name. So it says maybe since you've utilized her first name, you might want to talk about this character's last name as well.
Daenerys Targaryen.
So again, just keep in mind that this offers the students the option to talk about their favorite TV show. A lot of times students might not even begin to talk about Daenerys Targaryen or the show Game of Thrones because they have that fear of failure. This helps remove the fear of failure for the students who want to be talking about their favorite topic or their favorite character. So again, this would work from anything from the TV show to talking about cells in biology or physics. We're able to load vocabulary from each of those topics. So I could say Daenerys Targaryen is the, and then if I was a struggling writer, I might spell dragon with a J. So J-R, and up there, the first option is the word dragon. So again, I'll just hit number 1.
Dragon.
So she was the Dragon Queen. Again, Q-W-E-E-N. My third option
Queen.
And then again, when I put a period at the end of the sentence, it will read the sentence back to me.
Daenerys Targaryen is the Dragon Queen.
Pretty cool, right? So again, it offers the option for students to talk about their favorite topic or just a topic that they're given at school and be able to use vocabulary from that given topic. So I can pop back to my options menu, turn this off, and continue to show you a couple additional things about CoWriter. So recently, one of our more recent updates to CoWriter was the option to add translation. So we support 30 different languages with CoWriter right now. So these are some of the languages we have available, anything from German, Spanish, some of the major ones, Hindi, Vietnamese, Ukrainian, you name it. I actually don't speak a second language fluently. However, I did take German in high school. So we're going to try this out. I'll pop back over to this page here, and the prediction for translation is turned on here for me. So
Translate writing from German into English.
that'll show you what that box is for. So a couple other things we have in here are a microphone. So speech to text is available both in English, but it's also available in other languages. So I have turned on the speech to text function for translating German into English. So keep in mind, it's been a very long time since I took German. I hardly remember any of it, but I'll just create a short sentence here for you. So, meine Deutsch ist nicht gut. And obviously, my German is not very good, but I'm able to use this to predict from English or from German into another language. So again, this will work with all those languages. You can speak multiple sentences, you can speak a short sentence, you could speak individual words. So this would be good for if a student was writing out a sentence and they couldn't remember an individual word in English, they could probably speak it, or they could speak it with one of the other languages we have available. So they could insert an individual word directly into their writing just with using the speech to text functionality. So I could pop back over to my options menu one more time, and I'll change the translation to Spanish. So I'll change it to Spanish, pop back over into this doc again, and now it's changed to Spanish. So again, keep in mind that this might be for a student who can read and write and spell a majority of the words in the English language, but still they might struggle with some words. So let's say I was a student trying to write the sentence, I took a flight to the mountains. So I could just start typing out this sentence. So I
Capital I.
took
A.
And I can't remember the word for flight in English, but I can spell it out in my native language. So if I was a Spanish speaker, I could spell it out V-U-E-L-O. And the word for flight is an individual word-for-word translation. So it has popped up here as my 6th option. So I can hit number 6.
Flight.
And it will insert the word flight into my writing. So again, I was trying to write the sentence, I took a flight to the and then mountains. So M-O-N-T-A-N-A-S. And this is where we would get the prediction option to predict again from Spanish into English. And the word I was looking for was mountains.
Mountains.
So I just click on it.
Mountains.
And
I took a flight to the mountains.
so again, that's just another function that we've added in recently. So other cool things that we have available for CoWriter are a data piece, and we are also a approved writing accommodation for usage within STAR testing. So any student that has a writing accommodation written into their IEP or 504, they can utilize CoWriter on state testing purposes. So I'll show you how to turn on the testing mode first. So this is my small classroom of Don Johnston students, handful of my coworkers here. I could turn on a testing mode. So this little lock icon, when you hover over it, it tells you what it is. So if I turn on testing mode, we support PARC, Smarter Balance, SOL, and obviously the one relevant to this room here today would be STAR testing. So if I turned this on, it would adhere to the parameters and specifications set forth by TEA for usage within STAR testing. So again, the students who have been utilizing CoWriter all year long can now utilize it within testing purposes. So something that's been added in fairly recently. This was available last year too. But again, another function that's here for the students. So beyond being able to offer this piece, we can also provide some data. So if I hit view reports, I can get data on my classroom of students. So this is a snapshot of my classroom, and I can see that my classroom has written 26,000 words, spent 3 days writing. So if I wanted to click on an individual student and see how they're doing, I could see that this student's been using the support since March 2nd, 2015, and they've written 24,000 words and spent 2 days writing. So again, we've offered this that additional data. A lot of times this is used, the classroom data is used for, some districts have used it for obviously, just seeing whether or not the students are using the supports, but fun pieces they can do is use it for competition purposes. So individual classrooms can compete against one another for the amount of words they're writing. And at the end of the year, they've gotten a pizza party. So again, you can turn it into a fun thing to add for the students to support their writing. So these are some of the major pieces that we have available for Co-Writer right now. I'm not sure if there's any questions yet regarding this support, but I'm able to answer any before I jump into a little bit about Snap and Read Universal.
Okay, and feel free to either put questions in chat or unmute your mic and ask questions. So Dustin, I'm going to, since nobody's butting in except for me right now, can you kind of review and highlight what makes Co-Writer different than other text-to-speech tools that we have available? So I heard you mention one thing, but I want you to explicitly restate those for us.
So a couple things that make us unique. One is, to my knowledge, things change fast, but we are the only program that will work offline on a Chromebook. So, so you'll be able to use it on Chrome browsers with some other programs, but we are the only supports that'll work offline on a Chromebook. So that's something that's unique. The data piece is unique. The translation function is unique. The way we predict is also unique. So the level of prediction you get from our supports is unique to our support. So the type of prediction, the way we're able to predict with the flexible spelling is also a unique function.
Okay, so I think one of the things that I saw was even being able to add those specific topic dictionaries. I don't think I've seen that before.
Yeah, that too.
And then having the teacher monitoring piece. So the other text-to-speech tool that I'm familiar with is Text Help Read and Write. So if any of y'all have something else that your classroom teachers are using, one of the things within AT that we're really taking a look at is feature match. So looking at what is it that student needs in order to be successful, and then within that group of text-to-speech or speech-to-text tools, what is it that this kid needs to be most successful? Which tool do we assume will be do we want to trial to see is the best fit? So knowing these little nuances and differences, I think, makes a big deal for our kids. So any other questions, y'all, on Co-Writer? Okay, Dustin, are you going to talk about training?
Yeah, so a little piece on, as far as training is concerned, anybody that has that, once a district or a school or a person decides to move forward with our supports, something that automatically comes included is access to our implementation team. So with our implementation team, they're able to host personal webinars, private webinars, group webinars, and again, that's all included. So if you guys wanted to bring a group of staff out and utilize our implementation team to walk you through the tools as I'm doing today, or talk about something specific, maybe you wanted a more in-depth look at how to set up the testing mode, things of that nature. You just have to reach out to either myself, and I can help set that up for you. You can reach out to our implementation team. Real people sit down the hall for me on a normal day, and you're able to set something up with them and have access to that team. So other things that we have available just outside of our implementation team is our support page. So can you see our support page here? Okay, perfect. So our support page, you know, you can pick up how-to videos. So if I click through this, we have short, obviously there's something called the comprehensive overview. So you'll get a snapshot as to what I'm kind of doing here today. Again, this is an 18-minute video, but there's other things that you can, other short videos you can look at. So, you know, there's 2-minute videos, 45-second videos, you know, how to use the, you know, some of the tools that are built inside. And this one's obviously for Snap and Read. We also have this for co-writers. So how-to videos for anything that I just covered within co-writer. We also have right here are something called printable PDFs. So the printable PDFs are pretty fantastic. I think the reference guides and let me see here are quick cards. So quick cards are some of my favorite right now. If you hit view PDF, it will show you a glimpse as to everything I just went through. So it'll give you an overview of the tools, what it is, how it works. You know, how do you get the word prediction to work? What do the numbers do? How do I turn on and off the topic dictionaries? Things of that nature. And then you can download these and share them out. These are all resources that we have available right at our website.
So Dustin, it looks like a lot of those are designed for the teacher use. Do you have any of those that you would recommend for student training?
A lot of these are you know, you can use it for both teacher use and student training. We actually have we fully support a Vimeo site, so we have a lot of short clips that are a little bit more geared toward students from our Vimeo site. We update that. We update our website, but seems like we upload a lot of videos to our Vimeo a little bit quicker, and I can share out the Vimeo site here at the end with you. I don't have the link with me right now, but yeah, I can share that out. We actually find that you know, it's just the way the world works right now. But a lot of times, students do catch on a little bit faster to our supports than we do, and that's ultimately because, as we know, a lot of the students grew up, you know, with technology around them. You know, some students have never lived in an era without an iPad, which is even crazy to say, right?
Absolutely. Any of those things, Dustin, that we don't have already built into the supports you previously sent me, you can either add them to those Google Docs or email them to me and I can get them posted so that we can, anything to share like that.
Perfect. So I'm writing this down right now, and I'll get this sent over to you, the quick cards and the Vimeo.
Okay. Any other questions about co-writer before we jump into Snap and Type?
Cool. Okay. So let me open up my page for. It says my sharing might have been paused. Resume share. Are you able to see my screen again?
Maybe stop sharing and share again. There, we see you. Now try to share again. It looks like we've got a lot of bandwidth issues today. So.
Is it back?
Oh, I see a head nod. Yes, it looks like we're going to Hawaii.
We are going to Hawaii.
Awesome.
Where we like to go when it's negative 27 outside. And who doesn't like going to Hawaii, right? You know, it's one of those places that everybody can get along. So let's say, just to begin with here, let me share a little bit about Snap and Read before I dive into reading more about Hawaii here. So I'll turn off my extension for co-writer, and next to my extension for co-writer is my extension for Snap and Read. So Snap and Read will read in the or work in the same places that co-writer will. So it will work within Chromebooks. It'll work on my Mac again that I'm working on here today, and then it'll work on PCs. Again, that would be primarily through the Chrome extension or the Chrome browser. So we also have an iPad app available. So again, if your students are utilizing a Chromebook at school and they have an iPad at home, they can still log in with their one user login and have access to the tools wherever they need to be. So cool things about Snap and Read. So Snap and Read was ultimately and initially designed as a text reader. So it was designed to read any text aloud, whether or not students are reading from a website, a PDF, they're taking a picture of a worksheet on their desk at school, you name it. they're going to be able to take a picture of that worksheet, upload it as a tab here, and they can have it that text read back. So beyond being able to read any text, we also provide vocabulary support. So we have 2 vocabulary support functions available. One is a dictionary that also supports images and can be translated in 114 languages. But we also have a dynamic text leveler. So our text leveling tool is completely unique to our supports. There's nothing else like it in the world. And I'll kind of show you what that means as we move along. So other things that we have available to make the support a little bit more UDL is we have an annotation tool. So students have the option to write over the top of digital worksheets, PDFs, with the use of Snap and Read. Beyond that, there's, again, I mentioned a language support piece. So we support 114 languages for translation purposes. There's an outlining section, and there's also some color overlays for students to use as reading line guides. So a lot of functions that are available, but again, there's one of the cool things about the tools is it's not very hard to use. So it's very user-friendly. Students pick up on it very quickly. And again, they'll be able to pick up and work through the supports pretty well. So I could fire up the extension for Snap and Read here, and out pops this little toolbar on the right-hand side. So let's say a student wanted to start reading through some of the text. I can click on the speaker button up in the top right-hand corner of the screen, and I can just click on the text here.
It's easy to see why Hawaii has become synonymous with paradise.
So anywhere I click to start or click to stop on the page, it'll read text for me. So I could click in the middle.
Sugary beaches, technicolor coral reefs.
And again, anywhere I click to start or click to stop, it'll read that text. And obviously you get the reading line that follows you along as well, or the highlighting. So other places that we can read Overdrive books. So to my knowledge, I believe we're one of the only readers that can read within the Overdrive library. So obviously your local library and also the school libraries a lot of times are supporting online books now. So students can utilize our Snap and Read within Overdrive and read any of the Overdrive books. So other places we can read, Amazon Kindle Cloud Reader. Again, I could click on one of my Kindle books. Let's say the student is trying to read from The Hunger Games. I could just use my speaker button here and click right in the middle of the paragraph.
In the woods waits the only person with whom I can be myself.
So again, anywhere I click to start, click to stop, it'll read there for me. So I mentioned that we could also read PDFs and images. So this is a cool thing I did not too long ago. This is actually an image I took back when Hurricane Matthew happened, so it's been a while. But sometimes I stay in hotels, and this time I took a picture of the front page of the USA Today, and I emailed an image to myself. So I emailed an image. You can upload it just as a tab. So if a student does this, they can take a picture of the front page of a newspaper. They can take a picture of pretty much any article, and they can email it to themselves and then just have the text read.
Hurricane Matthew made landfall Tuesday night in Cuba at around 8 p.m. ET as U.S. states prepared to protect themselves and braced for the worst.
So again, just another function that's available here for the students. So something else that's probably pretty relevant to having read is STAR testing. So I downloaded this STAR test from the TEA website. So if the students need to practice a little bit and utilize a text reader to read through some of the supports, I could scroll down a couple pages down and then just begin to utilize Snap and Read the same way.
Lord Jefferson Davis had sent Gadsden to negotiate with Santa Anna for the land.
So anywhere I click to start or click to stop, right over the top of this document here, Snap and Read will be able to read it. So again, I mentioned some other functions, some vocabulary support functions that we have available. Let's pop over to this page. So there's 2 separate sentences here. Name 3 practices most alien to our modern ideas, and the alien in space was scared of the human. So 2 different contexts for the word alien. If a student was struggling to understand what one of these contexts meant, they could click on our 3rd support in the toolbar. So clicking on the 3rd support, click on the page, and we pop the information out in this box on the right-hand side. Google Documents are live documents. We don't want to be changing the text for all the students in the class when a teacher shares a doc. So this is why this is here. But again, now we were able to work with that vocabulary. So the first version of alien was changed to unknown and strange relating to the context of that sentence. and obviously form of life from another planet, relating to the context of that sentence. If a student hovers over these words, they get both the original version of the word along with the leveled version, and then they can also use the text reader to read back the leveled version.
That are most unknown and strange to our modern ideas.
So this function will work here, and then at the end of the day, once the student ultimately understands what these words mean, they can click through them, and they can change the words back to the original version. So we never take that higher level vocabulary away from the students, we just allow them to understand what it means in context. So this is an example of how it'll work here. I could pop back over to the STAR test. So now I can just use my text leveling tool here, select this short passage, and I can level some of the text. So words I'm going to point out before we do this, maybe the word negotiate. What are some other words? We'll find out here. Tract. I'm assuming tract might get leveled. So if I hit level, again, we pop the information out over here. But the word negotiate, again, was leveled to work with or talk with others to reach an agreement. Transcontinental, going completely across the country. Set of steel tracks. So this is cool because it's very similar to how a language or there's a support that's actually built into STAR testing for some higher level vocabulary, and this ultimately lets students become a little bit more accustomed to how that function works right through the STAR test. So again, this will work here. I could pop back over to the page about Hawaii, and I could level the text right on this page. Words like synonymous, the word synonymous have been changed to sounding the same as or equal. Volcanoes, places on Earth where red hot liquid rocks ash sometimes flow out. So let's say the student is, their primary language is not English, and they're struggling with even some of the leveled versions here. They can read and understand a majority of the English language, but still struggle with that higher level vocabulary. We can change the verb or the language on these higher level vocabulary words to the student's primary language. So this is, I believe the language I have set right now is Hindi. And obviously we leveled the higher level words here. And now we can use Stamp and Read to read through
Hawaii
it.
has become
के बराबर लग रहा है.
paradise.
So again, we can use the text reader if there's a voice available to read the passage back. But again, we support the 114 different languages. So again, this can be utilized here. This can be utilized within the STAR testing as well. So let's, and I click through it one time and we still get the translation piece even right from that PDF. So again, just another function that's available to support another group of students. So let's say the student doesn't read or understand any English whatsoever. We can also translate the entire passage here to Hindi. So that whole passage, that whole question, I was able to translate that whole thing there. If I wanted to translate the whole, the whole passage just from this web page, same function is available. So on the fly, you have access to, again, one of 114 different languages. So beyond being able to support some languages, I mentioned that we have a double-click dictionary. So you guys might be familiar with the right-click dictionary. You can right-click on most words and you'll be able to get a dictionary definition. The difference between that and what we have available is the option to double-click on a given word. And now you can, again, either translate that definition, which I just did there, or you can also just double-click on the word and you can have it read back. So you can have
A state in the United States in the Central Pacific on the Hawaiian island.
So now, again, you can't have the, when you do the right-click dictionary, you can't have the text reader read back the definition, and you also can't translate it. Something else that we have in here is an image. So I clicked on the word Hawaii, and we have an image relating to what that word is. So this is obviously just the state. If I click on the word volcano, we get a list of icons relating to the word volcano. Let's go to paradise. Again, you get an image relating to what the word paradise might mean. Words like synonymous, You can definitely get a definition for the word synonymous, but you're probably not going to get an image because there is no image for the word synonymous. But again, you can utilize the same functions for the translation piece along with having it read back. So again, these are some of the newer features that we've had added into Snap and Read lately. Obviously supporting, again, just a wide group of students. Other functions we have built in here are color overlays. So let's go over this page. Turn on color overlays, and now I can use it as tracking to follow along through a passage. So you can use the text reader to read along, or you can also just use it to read along yourself without having the text reader there for you. So this will work here, it'll work across this web page, anywhere that you turn on the color overlay, it's going to be there for you, and it will follow along from paragraph to paragraph. So another cool thing that is also in here, I feel like I'm saying, but wait, there's more. There's so many functions that we've added in here lately, but again, the cool thing is that the students ultimately understand what these functions are, and it doesn't become an overwhelming situation because they don't have to necessarily use all of them. But again, they are available in the event that they can or that they want to. If I click on let's just go back to Iceland. If I click on this page, obviously there's a lot of junk content in here. What I mean by that is there's advertising, there's a lot of things that pop up on the sides, things that might make this document a little bit harder to read. If I click on the extension for Snap and Read and hit remove distractions, it will reformat my page, and it removes all of the content that isn't related to the article. But again, we keep the relevant images here in the article as well.
Okay, Dustin, I'm going to bust out here. One of the things you and I talked about was if you have a student for whom you've purchased even one license of Co-Writer or Snap and Read,
yes,
then teachers have free access. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
So one of the things that we can share with our Gen Ed partner teachers might be that if they're using screens within the classroom, modeling how this eliminates the distraction for all kids, not just the one or two kids that we know for sure needs it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it just makes it easier to read. I find that, it's a lot of these things are just useful everyday tools, right?
Absolutely. I want to make sure that we honor everybody's time. Are there any questions about Snap and Read before we kind of move on? Okay, any other big features you want to show us? Because Dustin, I want to make sure that they get the opportunity to see where the resources are.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for you to tell them about free trials and stuff like that.
So I'll show you one more cool thing. Sound good? So again, I mentioned an annotation piece. So students across the country right now, 4th grade students, are probably trying to label the states across the country. They might show up with a blank map like this, and they might, have to fill it out with hand or by hand, or they could use now Snap and Read to annotate. So let's say I just wanted to put my name at the top of the page here. I can say Dustin Vanderploeg, right? But now I can turn on Co-Writer and use it right over the top of this digital worksheet as well. So let's go to Texas. So here's Texas, and I can use Co-Writer. Co-Writer pops up right there over the top of the digital worksheet.
Texas.
And I can use Co-Writer to help me with my writing right over the top of any digital worksheet. So now I can, draw a line to Hawaii, insert another text box up here. I can use the speech to text. Hawaii. This is Hawaii. I wonder if it's blocking me out for some reason.
Yes, Dustin, you're using your mic for the Zoom meeting, so it's not going to let you use your mic for another purpose.
Got it. Makes sense to me.
Yep.
So again, you could use, maybe we'll just, this time we'll use it for this purpose. Hawaii. Perfect. So now from here, I can save the document right back to Google Drive, share it back with my teacher from there. I can download it to my device. So I'll just open up this PDF that we just completed here. And this is what we just completed. So again, just gives you an idea of another place that Snap and Read will work, and another function for how Snap and Read will work. So the last thing, very last thing I promise for this point will be the outlining section. So we have an outlining section, 64 different evidence-based outline templates available for students. So let's quickly create a new one. And we'll do a comparison and contrast. So you can type right into this outline. Maybe I'll talk about Hawaii, volcano, and now I can talk about maybe one in Iceland. And now I can pop back over to my Hawaii article. Let's reformat it, make it a little bit easier to read. And I can begin to bring text off this web page. Just drop it right into my outline here. Indent, I can bring it up and reorganize it a little bit. And then I can jump over again to my Iceland article. We'll pretend this is relating to Iceland's volcano. And again, it just pops it over. So this one outline follows you from page to page, and you can begin to create the outline. So this saves just as a Google Doc saves. As soon as as soon as the students put information in here, it'll save for them. So when the students get home at the end of the day, they can open up Snap and Read, and all this information will be there. So again, just another cool function we have available for students to utilize. We hyperlink the information, and then we also offer citations. So we automatically cite an APA and MLA format. Let's say the student's not necessarily working from digital text. They could create a new source just by typing in here and add this right into their outline. So again, just an abbreviated version here, but another function that is available for students who need a little bit of help with organization of thought.
Okay, Justin, that's fantastic. And I'm thinking about like note-taking for some of our kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so y'all, I'm going, actually, Dustin, if you'll stop sharing so I can share. And feel free, Dustin, at any point to just jump right back in. I want to share my whole screen. There we go. Wanted to show y'all where the resources are for today. So some of you may or may not know, because I know we've got some new folks on. Dustin, we had some people that dropped off, not because you were less than entertaining, but they were having bandwidth issues. Okay. So they have asked that the recording be shared with them.
Got it, cool.
So under our blue services button, there is a link to assistive technology. And this is kind of a static web page that I maintain. So if you have never been to this page before, you might find some interesting tools. Our loan agreement and catalog of resources are listed there. I try to keep up with the professional growth opportunities, but not always do a great job. But notice underneath that, there is an ESC Region 11 AT community. And this is kind of our workspace. So this is where I kind of keep and archive all of the resources that we've done on our collaborative days. So Friday, February 1st, Dustin's contact information, and he is highly responsive. So if you need anything directly from Dustin, you're welcome to contact me. You're welcome to contact Dustin. We had really great conversations. This is what we're here for, y'all, is to support whatever the needs of our kids. Dustin, do you want to talk about the free trials a little bit?
Absolutely. So right in the bottom of this page, you can go to the free trials of ProWriter and free trials of Snap and Read. With the free trials, so every email address you use, you have a free 30-day trial. So with the trials there, you can use it with an unlimited number of students for those 30 days and have the full range of access to the supports. So anything that you need to trial it out with, or anybody you want to trial it out with, you can each use your own trials and give it a go.
And are those for student trials or teacher trials or either?
Either. So I think there's when you go to the page, it'll probably give you 3 options. I think there's students, parents, and then educators. So student trials, I believe, are for 7 days. Educator trials are for 30 days. But if you're an educator and you trial it with students, they can have it for 30 days, if that makes sense.
Right. And so thinking about one of our AT processes is that trial and error and data collection. Don't feel like we all have to run out and purchase that. We get an opportunity to try these out with kids to see if this is the tool that matches what they need.
Yep.
So the other thing that Dustin prepared for us was just a document that kind of gives us an overview of everything on Snap and Read. And there's another one on CoWriter specifically. So the additional, Dustin, you were going to send me the Vimeo and maybe a link to the support page.
Yep.
And so I will add that up. I will add that somewhere on here, y'all, so intuitively you can find it. Any additional questions for Dustin on pricing, free trial, Snap and Read, CoWriter, use on STAR? Okay, let me jump. I have a couple reminders I want to give y'all. On the home page, this is that AT Collaborative. If you are not currently getting a monthly AT newsletter, or if somebody else forwarded this invitation and you want to make sure that they hit your email box, I've got just a form, and it's just an email list that I keep, and I send monthly-ish updates about just what's going on in the AT world, trainings that are available for you, and sometimes usually a little blurb or letting you know that we're going to have a lunch bunch-ish kind of thing like this. Also, a couple other reminders. So I showed you where the AT web page is under ESC Region 11, showed you the AT collaboration space, how to link to that. April 5th, if you are somebody who's using AAC devices with students or have a need to learn about switch access, head pointing, eye gaze, PRC does a really great half-day session. It's very limited to 15 participants. So there are 2 spots left for April 5th in the morning and 13 spots for the afternoon. If you have a need to attend that, it's Betty Carter from PRC, and she does a really, really fantastic hands-on session for us, and that's available at no cost. And then the last thing is the TATN statewide conference in June. The call for proposals, if you have a need or desire to present. Some of the best things, y'all, are trial and error. You tried something new, and this is what happened with kids. Let me know, and I can push those through. I think she was going to extend the call for proposals. If you have a parent, maybe a high needs parent that needs to attend, or you want to take an AT team and you're looking for maybe a discounted rate for TATN, also let me know that, and I will ask and see what we can do. Any other ESC questions, AT questions, Dustin questions before we sign out? Weather-related questions, dark chocolate questions. Okay, well, Dustin, what's the temperature today? I heard it was warming up.
It is. I think it's 15.
Wow, it's above 0. And I think I have a nephew that's in Minneapolis, and I heard that was probably one of the worst.
Yeah, I think that was worse than we were by a good 10 degrees or so. But no, it's a heat wave. I think on Monday it's actually going to be 50 here, which is also crazy. But it's going to be a 100-degree temperature swing between the wind chill and what our high temperature on Monday is going to be.
Global warming. Oh, that's probably political. I probably shouldn't say that. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to stop the recording.
Good.
And we'll